First of all, thank you for allowing me to participate in today's conference and share with you my story. My name is Cisco Terreros, and I am the co-founder of Fulcrum, a sports agency representing professional players around the world. I would like to share with you today how the power of hearing the word no has helped me become the person I am today. My goal is that my story inspires you to never, ever give up. It doesn't matter how harsh the word no is, there's always another potential client next door waiting to hear your pitch. With my story, I want to share 3 key lessons I learned throughout my life. But to paint a full picture, we need to start at the very beginning. I was born and raised in Medellin, Colombia, and I was literally born to be a serial entrepreneur. When I was 7 years old, I discovered I was actually pretty good at drawing. So I started a little company drawing cartoons for my friends, and my little company grew so big that I actually started taking orders in advance for special occasions such as Mother's Days, Father's Days, Christmases, greetings, and other holidays. I started my second company when I was in 7th grade, at the time where kissing became the cool thing amongst my peers. My friends were more worried about their hair, their outfit, their breath than they were about school. And with that, I actually saw a huge opportunity. I figured that if I bought a box of 10 packs of gum for $2.50, I could sell each pack for $1, making $7.50 profit margin per box. Within a few weeks, my business grew to 25 boxes per month, and I was running a gum empire. Then life came at me fast, very fast. During this time, as you all know, in the 90s, Colombia was struck with one of the deadliest drug and civil wars in modern history. At the time, my parents had a successful jewelry business, running various stores throughout the country. When the drug war hit, luxury product-based companies like my parents ceased to exist overnight. Without any warning, we had lost everything: houses, cars, and any other physical possession we had. And life as I knew it was gone. As a 17-year-old, that could be quite tasking and stressful. My dad had an idea, though, to migrate to the US, where he had a college friend who offered him a job and some temporary housing. So my parents, my little sister, and I came to this country with 4 suitcases and $400. The 4 of us shared a small 2-bedroom apartment with another family of 4. And the 4 of us slept in a 1-bedroom, and my parents' queen-size bed was so big that my little sister and I had to sleep on each side of their bed in the floor. The first few days of school were incredibly hard. As you can imagine, I didn't know the language, didn't know the culture, had never seen snow in my life. I couldn't understand the teachers, I couldn't make friends. I felt absolutely lonely. One night, as I laid on the floor, as I was trying to fall asleep, I began to cry. My whole life as I knew it was gone, and there was not a single thing I could do. The reality is, the world had told me no, no, no. As I was lying in my makeup floor bed, feeling bad for myself, my entrepreneur juices started to kick in. And this time, instead of kickstarting a new company, I decided to kickstart my new life. So on the floor that night, I made a promise to myself that I would make it in this country. The first key lesson I learned was, no is actually a yes. Now knowing I had learned something, all of those downs in my life were necessary for my successes today. We had to realize that no is actually a good thing. It's a path to a yes. You don't pan gold removing gold from gold. You pan gold removing dirt from gold. Arianna Huffington, founder of Huffington Post, once said, "Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success." The summer before my freshman year of college, in hopes of saving some money and for the upcoming school year, I got a job selling Dish Network door to door. Let me tell you, it absolutely freaking sucked. Knocking on doors in the summer isn't fun. It's hot and people are incredibly mean. A month went by and only 4 sales under my belt. My manager pulled me aside and said, "Hey, all your coworkers have dozens of sales. Why don't you?" I said, "Everybody says no." And he said, "Well, not everybody has said no to you. Actually, 4 people sure haven't." And that stuck with me. The very next day, my coworker and I parked his car in a long street full of houses on each side. Depressed, knowing how my morning was going to go, I began knocking on doors. And as I was working my way down the street, I knocked on a door and did my sales pitch. And the lady was like, "Okay, yeah, how do I sign up?" And I was freaking pumped. As I walked down the driveway, I looked back at the street and it dawned on me, wait, not everybody had said no. So how many people said no for me to get to that house? I ran across the street where I could grab a better view of the block, and I eagerly started counting. Then I shouted, 13! That is how many houses I had to knock on in order to get to that lady's house. pumped out of my mind. I knocked on the very next door knowing that it was going to be one of 13 before I got a yes. It completely changed my outset and way that I sold. So much that at the end of the summer, I was the first team member from my region to have ever been ranked top 50 sales rep in the whole country. Dear friends, today, set yourself a goal to identify how many potential clients are going to tell you no before somebody tells you yes. I promise you that formula will change the outlook on your sales experiences, but most importantly, will teach you that no is one step closer to a yes. The second key lesson I have learned is learn from the dirt. I didn't get to top 50 sales rep in all USA Dish Network in the summer of '01 because I had 13 no's and 1 yes, no, but because I had learned from those 13 no's. A few years ago, I came up with this brilliant idea to create a better version of the reminder app on our phones, and I wanted to create one that took notes, reminded you with pictures, voice memos, etc., and I called it Bulb, like a light bulb. I invested personal money in this idea, paid a developer, and got to work. Then after months of hard work, research, and development, I realized there's 100 apps just like this one. And most importantly, I realized that the capabilities I wanted on my app aren't easy to create or code. I didn't have any more money, and I couldn't pay the developer anymore. So instead of quitting, I took matters into my own hands, and I taught myself how to code. Fortunately, by that point, it was way too late for my venture, and it had already failed. Fast forward a few months, while I was at work, I was craving one of my favorite food trucks for lunch. However, they didn't have a website, and since they posted their schedules on social media, they would be rarely accurate. So, as a serial entrepreneur that I am, I decided to create a food truck chamber of commerce with an app so people can easily find them, and I called it the Food Truck League. Remembering the mistakes I had made at Bulb in mind, I went to work, and with limited coding skills, the lessons I had learned from my last venture, and a lot of hard work, within 4 weeks, I had 100 registered food trucks paying me a percentage of their sales in form of a membership to post their schedule on my app. After an incredible luncheon event with 10,000 food truck lovers in attendance, and after finding the right partner, I sold the Food Truck League and its app for a lucrative deal. Today, the Food Truck League has a beautiful $1 million food truck park building, employs dozens of people, and is a thriving business. If we are learning from our failures and our no's, we're wasting our emotional investment. So learn from each step you take today, so it may become in handy tomorrow. The third and final key lesson I learned is find your why. I'm not here telling you guys that no's are easy emotional punches to take in the face. No, that's far from accurate. In fact, still to this day, when we pitch a player into Fulcrum and they say no, I take it very hard. But there is something that keeps me coming back, and that is my why. I have an example that illustrates why having a why is so important to endure the no's. One time there was this athlete that was a top recruit in college. The player was drafted and went to preseason. During preseason, the player realized how hard professional soccer was, and they kept getting pushed harder and harder and harder until they were cut. And unfortunately, right before the season, they were let go. Within a few hours, however, we had a new offer for this player, playing in one of the biggest European clubs in the world. I called the athlete, told them the news, and so devastated to hear that they actually weren't interested and they declined the offer. As you can imagine, I was shocked. Wanted to get to the bottom of it, I asked the athlete, hey, tell me, what is it that got you into playing pro in the first place? What was it that motivated you? And their answer was actually pretty simple. I don't know. When the first sign of opposition occurred for this athlete's career, because the player didn't really have a why, and during the lows didn't justify the highs. A well-known motivational speaker, Simon Sinek, said, your why is the filter to every decision you make and experience you encounter. So to help us identify our why, that will turn into a motivation factor to help you bounce back after a depressing no, I want you to follow this exercise. Everyone take out your phones right this second. And for the next 60 seconds, I want you to really search within yourself and identify your why. Some of you might be money, for some of you it might be your families, for others it might be personal growth. Whatever your why is, write it down. And then with that why in mind, I want you to write a personal memorandum, a promise to yourself to never give up and to walk through the tough parts because of your why. As I look back on my life, I see a 17-year-old old immigrant crying on the floor next to his parents, frustrated with the world, feeling lonely, and a promise was made, a promise that he would make it in this country. Every single time my life gets difficult and I hear a no, I think back of that promise. That is my why. And that is the reason why I'm here today. My name is Francisco Terreros, and I feel absolutely humbled to have shared my story with you today. Thank you very much.